Welcome, everybody, to Bro Rant. This is our new show where Kyle, the teach over here, throws a random topic at me for your enjoyment. Remember, you can submit topics not only actually on patreon.com/superbros, facebook.com/supergamecastbros, or even email us at gamecast@superbros.org. That is a lot of different orgs and comms there. But Kyle, what do you have for me today?
All right.
I'm feeling salty.
So, I'm actually curious. This one was submitted to us by a good friend of ours, Patrick.
Okay.
He wanted to know what you thought of the WWE's Mae Young Classic.
Okay. So,
I'm curious too because we have not talked about this.
yeah, we because this had stirred from a conversation I literally had like driving here with Pat. We got talking about, just him and I will talk about anything, and we got talking about wrestling, and then it kind of like stirred in this thing that I brought up to you about Mae Young, the Mae Young Classic, and just wrestling in general. So I didn't watch season 1.
Neither did I.
I only watched season 2.
Yep.
And even after watching, so for people who aren't huge wrestling fans that are just interested in our show, so WWE is the major U.S. Pro wrestling or sports entertainment brand for the United States. They're kind of like the big dogs. But they hosted, this is the second year they've hosted Mae Young is a wrestler from the 60s. I think she wrestled from the
50s and 60s, maybe even some of the 40s too. I'm not sure.
No,
definitely 50s though. Definitely 50s.
Yeah. So, feel free to correct us in the chat, but she's basically one of the most legendary figures in women's wrestling, like pillar figures and like changing it. And in her honor, they're doing a Mae Young Classic where they bring wrestlers who are not, some are who are not signed to the WWE brand, and they bring them in and do a tournament. And so WWE is in this really weird stage right now to where I think some of the most creative things that they're doing are in their developmental territory, NXT. And even though I do think the main roster is good, I don't think it's as good as a lot of these independent or smaller brands are doing story-wise, even though I think most of the talent on WWE is excellent. But that being said, with the Mae Young Classic, like I said, they brought in women from all over the world. You had a woman from India. You had 2 girls from Japan, 2 girls from China, quite a few Americans, a few WWE and NXT. We had a former women's champion come back and wrestle. And I watched the first there was 32 women, and I watched the first round. And it is some of the best wrestling I have ever seen.
No, it's really good.
And I really mean that. And I know we always, especially our generation, you and I grew up watching Stone Cold and The Rock and Taker and Kane and DX and the people we are notable in wrestling. They kind of put wrestling on a higher tier. You know, Hogan was the one that made it mainstream, really, and then from there, you know, Hogan and Piper and Dusty and Rick, and those other guys were the ones that took it to the next level. In the Attitude Era. But I never thought, like, they were good entertainers, and that's where the sports entertainment thing comes from. But then the Mae Young Classic, and I really mean this, and I mean this even amongst men performers too, I have never seen better wrestling on a show, you know, a front to back show than this. The Mae Young Classic has literally been like Meiko Satomura. I had heard of her before, and I saw a wrestler, and I'm like, "Holy crap!" Mm-hmm. No wonder they call her the final boss in Japan. That it's an honor to just wrestle her and lose to her because you're gonna get your ass handed to her.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously. And then it made me want to go out and watch. And I'm watching these videos of her and like Io Shirai, who's basically a legend in what's known as Jinsu, I think is how you pronounce it. But it's basically what's known as women's wrestling in Japan. Okay. But it's like women's strong style where her, Asuka, or Kana in Japan, Kairi Sane or Kairi Jodo, I think is how you pronounce it, is what her name and character name was in a lot of Japanese promotions. But you watch them wrestle men in Japan and beat their ass.
That is one thing I think the WWE is lacking. I would one day like to see women wrestle men.
We have, though.
I want it today, though.
Oh, I agree. And this is where I look back and I think China was such a trailblazer in her time because she was tough, she was strong. I think they made her look unattractive at first, and then they kind of made her. And I'm not saying that because I don't think, but they made her all the faces she would make.
Yeah.
I think anybody who's sitting there making angry faces. And I like that she was still an attractive woman, but had she could, it didn't matter who you were, she'd come beat your ass. And it was awesome to see her and Jeff Jarrett and Chris Jericho have that feud. And then even with Hardcore Holly, even people like in WCW, like Miss Jackie, or even WWE, because she was a cruiserweight champion too at one point. Miss Jackie was cruiserweight champion. She had that huge feud with Disco Inferno on WCW. Like, dude, these are women that were just trailblazers, and it's so awesome, at least here in America, because I know in the 90s was a big, big push for women's wrestling in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of those...
They brought a lot of those Japanese women on WCW, too.
That's where Mako got her first U.S. start, was on Nitro.
Yeah.
It was in a tournament. It was in like a women's tournament. And then she did... it was in junction with this Japanese promotion.
Okay.
And they brought a lot of Japanese women over, and then WCW got other women over, too.
That's one thing WCW did that I think was right. They brought over, what was it? Someone had a good rivalry with the Great Muta. I think it was like Ric Flair or something.
I don't remember.
But the Great Muta for like a good year and a half, maybe 2 years, was on like every single WCW pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't remember that because I'm not. I'm just now kind of getting into like old WCW stuff.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something I have to look at. But like that's. I don't know. It's just it's incredible, and to see, I literally have fallen in love with Mako and Io, and I'm just like, and that's not to discredit any of those other performers. She's now on NXT. Mercedes, so she fought Mako, and that was, to me, that was the best match of the entire thing. Was her and Mako Satomura.
I forget. It's Mercedes something. But
I'm sorry because she is really.
No,
her name
she is
just
really
slipping
good.
My mind. Yeah, she just fought
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross.
I watched that this morning.
It was actually a good match. I was really it. She needed to lose because it was better for the story for Nikki.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Mercedes is a better wrestler than Nikki. Even though I like Nikki, and Nikki I think is a good wrestler, and I still think she has a long way to go. Which I really wish she was on SmackDown with Sanity.
Yes.
And I actually think she might be the thing to help Sanity come back.
Yep, because they've just been jobbed.
When was the last? I haven't. Well, then again, I watch on Hulu, so they cut out a lot of matches.
No,
I haven't seen Sanity in forever.
They haven't been on air.
But like, I'm really happy for all those girls. I'm happy for Triple H because I know he pushes for a lot of these things. And I know
who's that one
there's some
girl?
Older management that, and this is any job, though. You kind of get doing things a certain way for so long. You get in like a comfort zone.
Yep.
And I think we're going through a period right now to where we have both, right? We have all this creative stuff that, because apparently I think Shawn Michaels is now helping out NXT too. Because even his trunks at Crown Jewel said NXT on him. Oh. And he made a comment on Raw about
NXT.
He's like, and we run that too. And I think he is helping.
I did notice how he said that.
The two people who run it, from what I know, is Triple H and Michael Cole.
Yes.
Run NXT. And they help do producing for main roster. Obviously, Cole can't do as much because he's commentating on Raw.
Yeah.
But apparently he helps set up the night, commentating-wise, and then he obviously helps deliver the story when he's there. But Triple H is back there, McMahon's back there, and Shane is back there too. I think doing a lot of producing for
NXT.
No, Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
But when to jump back to me on Classic though, all those I'm trying to even think of some of their names just because I was so impressed by a lot of those girls.
Was something Ripley?
Oh, Rhea Ripley?
Rhea Ripley?
Yeah, Rhea Ripley, who's going to be on NXT UK. There's a rumor I read, and I don't want to start spreading rumors, but rumor I read that they're going to give her the women's UK title. It's going to come down to her and Tony.
Okay.
And she's going to win it. And, dude, she's such a good villain. Like, she's such a good villain. She needs to have that title so she can just hold it over everybody, you know? And I really want to see her with the belt. I think she deserves it.
Now,
but even if Tony were to have it, she deserves it, too. She's like a legend everywhere, too, now. And she's only 23.
I like Toni Storm. I don't want to turn this into me ranting. I like Toni Storm. She's a good wrestler. But I didn't want her to win the Mae Young Classic.
I didn't either. I wanted Io Shirai.
Strictly because from the very first episode, I knew she was going to win.
So I kind of have the feeling, too. I just kind of fought against it. I almost wish they had... They could have turned into a 3-year deal. I almost wanted her to win next year. Like, have her come back, have her make it to the finals, and lose. And be like, oh, it's this close, you know?
Yeah.
And then she gets to win. Or make it a redemption story of where then that's when she wins the UK title.
Yeah.
You know, which she could win both. She once again, she definitely deserves it. She's awesome in the ring.
Yeah.
And she's good at storytelling. Also, she's super, super emotional. Like, when she was walking to the ring at Evolution, she almost looked teary-eyed. I'm like, she's gonna win.
See,
I knew it. Like, because
when she with her match with Io, I knew
that was an awesome match. Too, by the way.
It was awesome, but I knew when the match was over because Tony was doing like her little finishing move. I forget what it's called, but as she's like setting up for the move, I can just see her face just. Getting ready to cry.
She makes that face too. But you know what though? That is a really emotional moment, especially to where.
But like save it until the 3 count.
Think about it, dude. She's literally been all over the world, and within the past year or two, she's turned into a huge star. Yeah. And she's literally going to federations, winning the championship, moving on, and now, dude, she just now. Let alone obviously, once again, it's wrestling is predetermined. You know.
It's real to me.
It is real. Just go watch Royal Rumble, 1999, Rock versus Mick Foley. That's definitely, he's taking those chair shots. Yeah. And the reason I actually know that is because I had a conversation with Mick Foley about that.
That's
at a comedy club, and he was like, I couldn't put my hands up. I was taking the shot. He's like, I was handcuffed. What, I'm taking the shots.
Oh, no, like that. No, wrestling's definitely real.
It's real.
Oh yeah,
it's set up. It's the way I explain it to people who don't understand wrestling, and I always laugh too because I always feel really self-conscious if I'm watching like wrestling in public somewhere.
Yeah.
Even if the audio's not on, because somebody passes by and there's just a grown man like a diaper. Like it's always like looking like, what the hell are they watching? Why are they in a boxing ring and some guy's dressed as a chicken? Like they're always, because there's, especially when it's WWE, because Vince cares so much about comedy and it is hysterical.
Yeah.
Like the hand baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll laugh at it. But if you're just a passerby and you happen to see somebody, you're like, what? First off, why?
Why did that woman just give birth to a hand?
Like, and you have to be a wrestling fan. But the way I explain wrestling to people who are not fans, and they're like, that's not sports. I'm like, that's not true. But it's not fully sports. It's athletic theater. Yeah. It really is. Wrestling is theater first, and that's why you see a lot of these people who were wrestlers were not only like either collegiate wrestlers or like football or basketball stars in like high school and college, but they were also in they were like thespians. They were in drama club, and they did plays. Like that was Kane's big thing. Kane was not only a basketball player but a college football player, or Glenn Jacobs. But Glenn Jacobs was also a thespian, and so and think about it, that's wrestling though. That is wrestling. you know.
I mean, from what I understand, every single wrestler, at least with the WWE, has their Screen Actors Guild card.
Good. They need it.
Yeah.
They need it. And a lot of them turn into actors anyways.
Yep.
Look at The Rock. Rock, how many years in a row now has been like the most successful star in Hollywood and the most money, most attract. I mean, like there's on every magazine he's on the cover of the best of something for this year as an actor.
Yeah.
And it started as him being Rocky Maivia with his crazy curly hair sitting on top of his head, running out to the ring with his dad and his grandfather's name smushed together.
And everybody hated it.
And we would not have Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as a star if it wasn't for Vince McMahon.
Yep.
So, but man, dude, shout out before we wrap up, and this is a positive rant. Shout out to all those ladies who, and I'll even say the first one because a lot of those women came back. Especially Mia Yim, she just started wrestling in NXT too, and dude, she is awesome. I know she's friends with Shelton Benjamin, but I think she even trained with Shelton. If that's the case, dude, she's already shown how awesome she is in the ring, but she's gonna be a star, dude. She has the look, dude. She just has it. That's why I'm happy Io's there. The only thing I worry about Io is I hope they just don't do what you did to Asuka. Yep. And she's a legend. And actually, I'll say this one more thing, and we'll go. I'm trying to think of the federation, but in one of the Japanese federations, it might have been Stardom, but Kairi Sane, who's like best friends with Io Shirai,
yes,
was in a faction with Io Shirai called, I think, Triple Tails. Okay. And it was Io Shirai, Mio Shirai, which is Io's sister. Oh. And Kairi Sane. Okay. And it was like a 3-woman thing. And then they eventually split up because Io wanted to go after singles. So, obviously, Mio is not in WWE. Yeah. So, what I'm hoping is that now that Shayna Baszler has the title again, is who I love, by the way. Shayna is probably one of the most badass chicks I've ever seen. Former UFC. She's right there with Ronda. She doesn't have the star power that Ronda has. Yeah. But, dude, she was helped trained by Ronda. She was on that reality show with Ronda, too. And so, and all those girls that are coming from UFC coming up, dude, are going to kick some butt. But what I want to see, though, is I really want to see, now that Shayna has a title, is that you have Io come up, starts teaming with Kairi. Then all the girls get pushed up in the main roster, and then they add Asuka as the third. Oh, you know what? It wasn't Kairi. It was Asuka who was in the faction.
Oh, it was Asuka?
Yeah, but Kairi is best friends with Io, though. But make that the faction and make it kind of like an homage to what was in the past.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. And then you have them fight the UFC chicks.
Women's Tag Team Championships, thank you.
There's not enough women. There will be.
Please.
There will be. A title's already been mocked up, and Stephanie has admitted that they are going to do it.
Oh, okay. Well then, okay.
Yeah, Stephanie admitted on some radio show,
but
she specifically said that we will not unveil it at Evolution because there was like big.
No,
big
that's fine.
rumors
I just want to know that it's happening.
Either way, women's wrestling as a whole is in a really good place right now. So I'm very happy. But yeah, if there's anything even positive rants that you guys would like us to talk about, once again, you can hit us up at patreon.com/superbros, Facebook.com Super Gamecast Bros, or you can email us at superbros@gamecast.org.
Super Bros everything.
Yeah, Super Bros, and thank you for being super.